Hello, today in this video, I'm going to show you how to edit your online test administration in Illuminate. So I've gone ahead and created some online administrations already, and now I want to go back and make some changes. So to do that, select Administer once you are in your assessment, and then go to Online Testing. Next, find the test administration that you would like to make an edit to. And if you've posted directly to Google Classroom, this is where you're also going to make those administration edits, because essentially what happens when you post directly to Google Classroom, a quick code test has been created, and that can be edited on this page here. So to edit a test administration, just simply click on the Edit link, and then this will put you into your administration settings. So first is the test window start date and end date. So if you would like to change the start date and end date of your assessment, just click on the calendar to the right and then make that change. You can also change the time here. So next you have your administration settings, and here's where you can set your time duration of your test, and also if you would like to increase the number of student pauses or decrease from the default, which is 3. Next, see our input method. That is for constructed response questions. So the default is set to online entry, and this allows students to type in their constructed response question right within the online assessment. If for some reason you would like them to only answer multiple choice questions and then write out the answer paper pencil, then you would select written. Availability, it's set to open, but if you would like to set a password on the assessment for students to type in order to enter the assessment, you would click password and then type in the password that you would like to assign for the assessment. Next, we have browser, and the default is any browser. And really, unless you know for sure you are going to be testing in a lab with desktops that have the lockdown browser software installed on each of the desktops, I would leave this to any browser. And I say that because if you are testing on Chromebooks or Chrome devices and you have the students access the test through the Illuminate app with the lockdown browser attached, by default, they're going to pick up that lockdown browser. So I would leave that to any browser, again, unless you are testing at one of the labs that has the lockdown browser software installed on it. And if you have any questions before setting up your test administration and you're not really sure, please reach out to the technology department and we will make sure to answer any of those questions for you. Next, test booklet. The test booklet should be attached, but I always like to double check and make sure that the materials that are attached are what I would like my students to see. And that can be changed here. If you have multiple documents attached to the assessment, you can then choose from here which document you would like students to see when they access the online test. Next, we have online test tools, and here you can enable calculators, and these are really nice. There's a protractor, spell check, and highlighting. But these are the test tools that you can enable for online testing with the Flex assessment and the manual hybrid. Okay, so now let's take a look at review settings once the student has taken the assessment, and these are review settings within the portal. So you can provide teacher feedback on constructed response questions. In order for students to be able to view that feedback, you need to set this to yes. And I'm going to talk about this just a little bit. So what's really nice is if you ever have a question and you see this question mark, you can just highlight or hover over that question mark and it will explain that feature a little bit more to you. So what it's saying here is this option allows a student to review his or her test submission along with answers, which answers the student got correct or incorrect. This does not expose the answer key. That being said, though, it will show them which questions they did not answer correctly. So if that's something you do not wish for them to see, then you may want to just leave this at no and then find another way to provide that feedback for your students on that constructed response question. And you can also, what is nice about this is maybe, you just want them to get some quick feedback on it. You can select the date and time that feedback can be seen. This again is set to no, and this allows students to view the answer key. So this allows students to review the test submission along with answers, what they got correct and incorrect, but it does expose the answer key. So that's important to know, and they will also be able to see which answers they answered correctly. So those are just some review settings that you have control over from the administration side for students to see in their portal. So I'm going to save these settings. And then I'm going to show you really quickly what some of those online test tools look like for the student. So I'm going to select preview assessment, and this will give you a quick preview of what an online assessment looks like for students. Now note that this does not set up a test administration. It just gives you a window into the student view. So here is just a basic test administration. I'm going to enable some tools here and make sure they're all set. And then preview. And this was just a sample essay question, but here are the tools that are available for the students. And they just click on the tools. And here they can edit. There are some other tools here. And that is the highlighter. So that's just how sum and spell check is here. So, and this was set up as a constructed response question. So that is what a constructed response question looks like. The student can select a full screen or go back to the test screen. And that is just a quick preview of the tools and how those look for students and how they access them. And that is how you can edit your test administration for a test with QuickCode or a post to Google Classroom. If you are testing in Portal, that administration is a little bit different in the fact that you are assigning that to students and they're taking it within their portal. So let me just take you through that process really quick so you have an understanding of how to set up that administration. And again, it's very similar to the other administration, but you do set it up for your students. So here you're going to set your start date and your end date, pick your academic year. Some of these will already be pre-filled for you based on your permissions. So I'm going to just go through and set the site. And then you could, let's just pick a department here. And then once you select sections, the students that are rostered to you will show up here and populate. And so you can select which session you would like to assess and specific students within that session. If you just want to make this available to maybe a few students that need to retake the test or missed it when you administered it the first time. Test administrations is the same setup. Your online test tools and your review settings are also the same. And so that is how you can edit your test administrations in Illuminate, and then also how to preview that online assessment.